Hey, Jameson here, and in this video I'm going to compare what it's like to work as a software engineer in the freelance environment versus the 9-to-5 environment. So regardless of which one of those environments you work in, it might be interesting to see the perspective of the other half, because I have worked as both. I've worked a 9-to-5 job with a 6-figure salary in industry, and I've worked with a 6-figure salary as a freelance software developer as well. I've prepared 8 different categories we can compare these two lines of work in. And let's get started with number 1, control. When it comes to controlling how much money you're going to make and like how many hours you're going to put in order to earn that amount of money, which method gives you more control here? Well, having worked in both environments, the one I choose for this category is going to be freelancing. And that's because as a freelancer, you often work in these smaller sort of contracts, and you can easily control the terms of those contracts since they're much smaller deals. Whereas if you're working a 9-to-5 job, you typically have one huge contract you're working for them under, and typically in there they'll say that you can't work for anybody else, so you're just under essentially one contract, and that contract controls you. Whereas when you're a freelancer, you submit contracts to people and then they agree to those contracts, or vice versa. Either way, it's on a micro scale, and you can much more easily control each of those individual contracts. Our next category is fast to start. And this category is essentially how fast can you get making a full-time income with either freelancing or 9-to-5ing. Well, with freelancing, you typically have to earn a little bit of reputation through reviews if you're doing something like Upwork.com. So it'll take you a little bit to get some experience under your belt on that platform, and ramping up to a lot of different clients enough to book you full-time typically isn't going to happen immediately. So I would say it's easier to get a 9-to-5. So 9-to-5 works better, consuming your full schedule and giving you the full-time work that you're looking for this category, fast to start earning a full-time living. Okay, next topic is flexibility. Of course, this one's going to go to freelancing because you can work your own hours whatever you want. Often this is going to be remote, especially for software engineers. So definitely this one's going to go to freelancing. Now, as far as predictability for your income and getting gigs and things like that, which one is better, freelancing or 9-to-5? Well, as you might expect, it's going to be 9-to-5 because, there are some days, some weeks where I'm not even working. It's just time off. That's what I currently do. I work as a freelancer. You might be able to tell based on my tone of voice throughout this video. But essentially, 9-to-5 is going to be a lot more reliable, assuming you don't get laid off. With freelancing, I guess you could kind of view it as predictable, since you can, usually count on getting a contract every, whatever the interval is, every couple weeks, every couple months. But with a job, as long as you're playing the corporate ladder games appropriately, and you're in software engineering, and so it's a pretty stable industry. Like, people are always going to need talented software engineers, at least as far as I can tell. So as far as predictability, if you're a software engineer, I would say 9-to-5 is going to give you a more predictable income. Might not be higher income, but it's definitely more predictable than that of a freelance software engineer. And to clarify that point, in industry, I was making around $50 an hour right out of college as a software engineer in 9-to-5. In about a year's time, I was ready to be promoted to around $55 an hour-ish. But when I left that company and started freelancing, I started making $80 an hour. And within probably 8 months of doing that, all the way up to $100 an hour. So I have a lot more control over the income, even though it's less predictable. Because of the control factor I mentioned earlier, I can leverage my skill set and different contracts in order to increase the rate of pay. So the rate of pay might not be as predictable, but it can be higher. All right, the next topic is how predefined are these roles, freelance versus 9-to-5? Well, in each case, you're given some sort of contract or terms for the work that you're going to perform, but a lot of times in freelancing, these will be a lot looser. The client will just come to you with a problem that they need solved, and you have to use your own head to figure out exactly how to do this, like what technology do you use and so forth. Whereas a lot of times in a 9-to-5, you have your project, your team lead, and they decide on the technologies and so forth. Often that comes up from higher up on the chain. Your leaders will tell you what technologies to use, but when you're working as a freelancer, I mean, sometimes they'll say, we have this existing code base, use these technologies, but in general, the thing that's going to be more cookie cutter is always going to be the job. You know, they have that full job description telling you exactly what your role is going to be. They put you on a team, they integrate you with that team. But with freelancing, oftentimes clients don't even know the first thing about technology or coding, and so your solution has to come from your own head, and you have to be resourceful in that way. So this one was kind of close, but in general, I'd say 9 to 5 is a little bit more cookie cutter than freelancing. Our final topic is stress-free, and let's start off with freelancing. So with freelancing, you're kind of going on your own schedule, and people aren't really hounding you about deadlines as much as long as you choose the right clients. Whereas in a 9 to 5, I was constantly being hounded by my superiors for deadlines and different projects. And since you're getting paid a salary, people just try and push as much work as they can on you because you're getting paid the same amount. They just want you to do more and more and more. Whereas with freelancing, really the clients they just want you to get quality results for the work that you are doing for them. They want you to build solid code bases. A lot of these clients have been burned because they hired bad developers in the past, and now they're left with this mess of a code base, or they've tried hiring someone who just wasn't that good at coding. So this category is definitely going to go to freelancing, because when I'm working as a freelancer, I'm less focused on trying to handle all these different tasks which are thrown at me, and instead I'm just clock in and focus on one problem at a time, make great results, and send those results off to the client. And that is a lot less stressful to me. There are sometimes scheduling problems with different clients, but if you in general only have like 1 or 2 big clients, the scheduling problems aren't really that bad. And there you go. If you like this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and comment down below if you have any questions you want to ask me about the sort of results that I've been getting with freelancing, or any other questions you have about my experience with 9 to 5. I'll be happy to answer those in the comment section. So remember to subscribe for more videos as well, and I'll see you in the future videos.